My name is Naoko Abe, and I'm a Japanese journalist and non-fiction writer based in London. My first English language book was called Cherry Ingram, The Englishman Who Saved Japan's Blossoms. It's been a year since my latest book called The Martyr and the Red Kimono was published. I believe that the book is more relevant than ever this year, both because of the turbulent times we live in and because it's the 80th anniversary of three massive events: the liberation of Auschwitz, the dropping of the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the end of the Second World War. All these topics are addressed in my book by three protagonists. One is a priest who died in Auschwitz. The second is a survivor of the Nagasaki bomb. The third is Japan's most eminent cherry tree creator. He was so upset by Japan's wartime barbarity that he sent his trees around the world to atone. In this short video, I'll talk briefly about each man and how they are linked by their actions, peace messages, and unimaginable sufferings. Perhaps you've heard of the priest who died at Auschwitz. His name was Father Maximilian Kolbe, and he gave up his life so that another man could live. Father Kolbe had founded the world's biggest monastery in Poland in the late 1920s and went to Japan as a missionary in 1930. He spent 6 years in Nagasaki and founded a monastery there. But after returning to Poland, he was arrested by the Nazis and sent to Auschwitz because he was fiercely anti-Nazi and was regarded as a threat to the regime. Father Kolbe is the thread that binds the narrative of my book because he deeply influenced the two other protagonists. In particular, he had a life-changing impact on a man called Tōmei Ozaki, who was 17 when the bomb exploded above Nagasaki on the 9th of August 1945. The bomb instantly killed his mother and he was orphaned. Ozaki survived because he was working in an underground factory when the bomb exploded. When he emerged, he witnessed hell on earth. Nagasaki was engulfed in orange fires and thick black smoke. Burnt bodies lay everywhere, and dying people with severe burns cried out for help. Ozaki spent 3 weeks camping on a mountainside with some relatives, but one by one they died from their burns and from the effects of radiation. Ozaki burned the bodies of 3 young cousins, girls aged 4, 6, and 10, and took their ashes to the family grave to bury. Amazingly, he kept a diary from the day of the bomb, which contained detailed descriptions of what he witnessed and his emotional upheavals. He gave these to me, and the contents are in the book. The following is one short entry from his diary, dated 27th August 1945. 18 days after the bombing. How I hate my misery. The world where I had some freedom has gone forever and turned into darkness. Looking at the moon, I yearn for my mother. Everything else, water, mountains, trees, the sky, remind me of her. Why did I live? Why couldn't I have gone with her? Ozaki was suicidal, but he later joined a monastery founded by Father Kolbe in Nagasaki and became a Catholic friar. The third protagonist in the book is the cherry blossom creator, whose name is Masatoshi Asari. He created 116 beautiful varieties of cherry trees after the war. They are called Matsumai cherries as a group. Asari is a historian and he took Japan's war responsibilities very seriously. He has spent the past 50 years sending his remarkable cherries to countries that suffered from Japanese aggression. For example, he sent them to China, North and South Korea, the UK, the US, and elsewhere.
Kolbe, Ozaki, and Asari lived in different locations at different times. They never met, but somehow they were connected and interacted. Their paths crossed, albeit invisibly. They all suffered from the war. They all fought against oppression and injustice. And in the darkness of war, they all searched for light and hope. Although Father Kolbe willingly lost his life, the other two men survived, flourished, and spread their humanitarian messages around the world.
As I researched the Martyr and the Red Kimono in Japan, the UK, Poland, and elsewhere, I was constantly surprised to discover how cherry blossoms connected the lives and paths of these men and were a symbol of peace, love, and friendship. For example, Mr. Asari sent 420 cherry trees to Poland in the late 1980s when he discovered Father Kolbe's sacrifice at Auschwitz. He wanted to commemorate the priest's selfless actions. Most of these trees withered in the midst of Poland's political turmoil in the late 1980s, but 3 trees survived and still bloom in a remote convent near the Ukrainian border. It is amazing what a flower can do to stir humanity and unity.
As we all know, the world is in turmoil these days. After 80 years of peace, memories of the Second World War, the concentration camps, and the atomic bombings are fading. Few witnesses to the war still live, but we cannot forget, we must not forget, how many millions of people lost their lives, nor the sufferings at Auschwitz or the atomic bombs that devastated Hiroshima and Nagasaki. My aim in the Martyr and the Red Kimono was to keep alive the memories of these 3 remarkable men before their stories get swept into a historical black hole. Father Kolbe is long dead. Ozaki passed away in 2021, but Asari is around, aged 94, and still sending peace messages to the world from his home in Hokkaido, Japan. As humans, we have an obligation and responsibility to listen. Thank you.